AITA for putting meat in a tofu dish? This happened at a potluck. I brought a dish that was tofu stir-fried with minced pork, ginger and spring onions. Similar to mapo tofu but not spicy. Everything was fine except when someone asked me if my dish was halal. I said no. It has pork. That's when Jen overheard and freaked out that she ate meat. And it turns out a lot of other vegetarians ate my dish assuming it was vegetarian. For the rest of the party, I've had so many people, including non-vegetarians, tell me I'm an off for putting meat in a vegetarian dish. But this is a dish I grew up with. Tofu for me is just an ingredient, not strictly a meat substitute. Also, no one asked me if my dish was vegetarian. So am I the ah here or are people just overreacting? Edit. Since so many people are asking, nothing was labeled. I just left the dish on the buffet table along with the rest of the dishes. There were many other meat dishes. About 20 people at the party. 4 were vegetarian. No one asked about my dish except for the person asking if it was halal. NTA. Chinese tofu dishes and other vegetable dishes often contain pork to add flavor. It's not your fault they didn't know that. And I'd bet they've accidentally eaten pork at Chinese food places since they didn't. NTA mapo tofu usually comes with meat. The person that asked if it was halal was responsible. The vegetarians that ate it were not responsible. I live in an extremely health-conscious area and know several people with allergies, so I've started to put a list of ingredients with dishes I bring to potlucks. I've been vegetarian for 15 years. How do you not notice pork of all things in a dish? And info. Did someone ask you what it was or did someone else tell these people, oh it's tofu, and everyone just assumed it's vegetarian? But well, if no one asked you NTA. Edit. I just want to add that I feel it's ridiculous if you get angry for making the mistake of just assuming something doesn't contain meat. You can be disgruntled, disappointed, a bit disgusted. But most of all you should take it as a lesson to ask next time and pay more attention. NTA. I mix tofu and meat. It's not only an ingredient for vegetarians. They assumed it was a vegetarian dish because they have a weird misconception that tofu exists only for vegetarians. That they didn't bother to ask is on them. NTA. NTA. If someone has dietary restrictions, they need to check, nit assume. Info. Did they tell you it is a vegetarian party? NTA. If it wasn't a vegetarian party because they should ask. I always ask before digging in. Mapo tofu is not a vegetarian dish in traditional Sichuan cooking. NTA. People with dietary restrictions have a responsibility to ask about the food they're gonna eat. NTA. I doubt you told anyone that it was vegetarian. If you did, then YTA. However, it is extremely foolish for them to think that just because there is tofu that it is meat-free. There are a lot of tofu dishes that call for meat. The mistake is all on them. I say NTA. Sounds like they just assumed that because it has tofu in it that it was vegetarian. That's on them. Tofu equals meat replacement. NTA. Tofu is an ingredient. There is nothing that says it can't be combined with meat. Have they never heard of a Chinese restaurant? I guess everyone needs to provide an ingredient list at the potluck from now on. The person who asked if it was halal is the only one acting like an adult here. Other than you. NTA. Tofu is a common ingredient in a lot of East Asian and Southeast Asian cooking. If you're a vegetarian you know that and ask the appropriate questions. NTA. You should never assume what a food is. If you have strict guidelines you have to ask. I'm confused. It sounds like there were many people in attendance who have special dietary requirements, numerous vegetarians and at least one who follows a halal diet. Why was nothing labeled? NTA. I can get why people saw tofu and assumed vegetarian. But if they looked closer they should have also been able to see the minced pork. Also ultimately it is up to an individual to make sure anything they eat conforms to their dietary preferences. If there is an unlabeled dish at a potluck, it is definitely best to ask. NTA. I have pretty bad food allergies. And if I don't know a dish's ingredients, I ask. To assume that a dish is vegetarian based solely on the addition of tofu as an ingredient is just flat out people assuming. So many Asian dishes have tofu and are not vegetarian. Even pad thai with vegetables, considering it is made with fish sauce. Vegetarian here. NTA. How did the vegetarians know it contained tofu? Did they see the tofu but not the meat? Nothing was labeled, so it's not like you listed tofu as an ingredient but not the meat. If someone has dietary restrictions and is going to a potluck, they should be asking the person who brought the dish if it's suitable for them to consume. Not just assume it is because it has a certain ingredient. NTA. Consumers are responsible for what they put in their mouth if it's not labeled. You're not responsible for their assumptions. Tofu is just another ingredient, and they should learn from the experience. NTA. I don't eat meat and am well aware that tofu doesn't automatically mean vegetarian. But I guess it's best to warn people because many think it is. But not all for sure. NTA. Tofu is an ingredient. If people want to make sure something they're about to eat doesn't have meat, they should ask. Assuming an unlabeled food item follows your dietary guidelines because the presence of one ingredient is really stupid.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.